All aboard, it's Jang here with a look at another Playmobil space exploration set. This is the Mars Research Vehicle, and it's one of the ones that just came out in the United States in 2019. Here it costs $45, so keep that in mind. I will come back to the question of price a little bit later on, but first I want to give you a good look at this thing. It's very interesting. It looks like it might be inspired by the design of a grasshopper, which is cool. You know, you can kind of see it in its shape. It's even leaning forward a little bit. I like the fact that it's not just a basic box or a basic capsule, and it has interesting shapes for the windows. It has a combination of prints and stickers. So there is a sticker sheet that comes with this set, and you can see that this is a sticker back here, but then like that's not a sticker, that's a print, and this up here is a print. So it's a mix of I guess level of quality or level of detail that comes done in advance for you. We'll take a closer look at the figure later also. The most interesting thing about this to me is the inclusion of these different colored tires. I don't know, I just found that interesting. These are rubbery, so they're nice and soft and they feel grippy, which is always good. I have always, since I was a small child, appreciated when rolling toys come with rubbery tires, you know, or what I consider to be real rubber, even if it's not actually technically real rubber, you know, just because you roll it back and forth and you can feel the grip there, and you don't hear like with plastic tires where there's just that cheap sound. So it just feels better in all ways when toys have soft tires, and they look pretty nice. They look interesting. They look different, doing them in a color that's not just a plain black. That windscreen has a print on it, so that's not a sticker, but these little lights are represented by stickers. I'm actually completely okay with that. Have some ports on the top to let some light into the cabin area, so you can even see inside without taking the roof off. The roof does remove to get you access to the interior. Here is a solar panel to collect some power for the thing, and it can be angled up and down. So maybe if you have batteries in there and it's fully charged and you're traveling, you'll just put this back, and then when you need to get a little extra charge, bring it up, or if you're just moving around slowly. And then there's a bunch of stuff around the back. Let's go ahead and look at this stuff that is attached to the back first. Yeah, it kind of feels like this should have had a roof over it that you would be able to open up, but I know that would have complicated things in many ways because there's a bunch of stuff going on here. This is a general purpose crane arm that folds out, and look at how many folds it has there, how many lengths of arm. So I'm just gonna move the vehicle forward and fold some of this out, fold it out, fold it out, and then finally you have just this attachment here. So this, you know, goes quite some distance, or it can go up quite far. It can go easily down to the ground and beyond. You just imagine if you're drilling, or maybe you have this in a sandbox, you would actually be able to drill down, because one of the things that's back here is a drill attachment. Just attach that on the side like that, and then you can rotate this, and it works as a proper auger. You can actually move material with this. If you put this into dirt that's not too hard, or if you're using it in sand, it will actually drill a hole, which is just great. I think it's, you know, always nice to be able to properly use things. What else do we have back here? This is a grabber hand. Also attaches to that same spot. So if I pull this off, put this on there, this is now able to rotate around. I'm glad that they have all this articulation, so you can turn it under this way, you can bring it up this way. The whole thing can spin around, whether it's up, it's facing forward, or it's down. It can spin around, and then these individual fingers are able to move a bit. So these open up, and then they close in, and all these can close in. So you can see that it can hold on to something there in the center. It can also hold on to things that are the sizes of standard bars. So anything that is like a figure accessory or a small pole can be held right there if you have smaller things that you want to pick up. So that works. That's good. Definitely want to have something that's like a robot hand on something that's like a robot arm. What else do we have back here? Well, that is a launcher, and it even has a sight on it. Now, you can see this as being something to use against aliens or enemies, or you can see it as something to use to defend your work site on Mars or wherever you are exploring from meteorites. You know, if your targeting system is good enough, then you'd be able to shoot meteorites, get them to break up, you know, if any of them are large enough. I don't know, just using imagination a little bit. This fires very easily. It just doesn't even have a spring or anything in it. It just has a little bit of tension that builds up, and out that goes. You get two of them there side by side, and all that is going to just attach to the same spot once again. So you can just put that there, and you can have it facing in any kind of direction. You can turn it all around, you know, with the main boom arm. And that does it for the main accessories back here, but there's also some storage space. So if you find some materials while you're doing your exploration, you can kind of use it as a little bit of a pickup bed. It's not the most convenient thing to get things out of, but they have a bunch of crystals here. This one's a little bit hollow, especially on the base. It looks good when it's on the ground, but if you turn it like this, then you know, it just becomes extra obvious that it is hollow. I personally like these a little bit better. They just seem more complete. They also have a nice little bit of a glistening effect. It's a pretty good material that they've used there, but I'll give you a couple of different options, and that's just that. So each tool has its own space in there where it fits conveniently, and if you don't want to put them back in there, you want to put the tools inside the thing, then you can use some of this as additional cargo storage area. Now, for figures to get in and out of this, there is one door on the side here, and this just comes down and turns into a ramp. That's nice. That's a sticker right there. Again, I like the shape of it. That's interesting. Sticker on the inside, print on the outside. I don't know how they chose that. But to get a figure actually to walk through there, you have to bend them forward. They have to lean forward a bit because there's not enough clearance for their head to get through. You know, the doorway, the entranceway is not tall enough. And it's close. You know, it's like a little more than a quarter, maybe like a 3/8 of an inch or something like that of difference. I wish that there was just enough room where you could just walk this figure in, because there is ultimately enough height inside of the place to have somebody standing up. So it's just a little bit awkward, but for us human beings to get access to this, we can just take the roof off. And that makes everything so much simpler. Because of the shape of this, it's very wide at the top. It's curved from front to back, and the windscreen being angled forward means that you have a maximum amount of space and range to get your hands in there and to access this, and also to just see in the interior space. So even though it's really not that big of a space, you get the most use of it reasonably possible. I mean, you could probably figure out a decent way to have two figures working back here against this console. You see a couple stickers for the screens up there. You got some buttons and a couple of joysticks that can be held by the figures. This whole rear panel, though, is actually a lights and sound unit. So there are buttons on the top here. There, you can see them now. 4 different buttons. I'll show you what they do. This one over here, there we go. It just turns on a couple of lights, one on either side, and then the others do sounds. So I'll start from the far right. And turn it off by pushing it again. Here's the middle one. That one kind of sounds like an alarm or alert, but it could also be the sound of gear trains and the thing trying to move around, or it could be the sound of the robot arm being used. I kind of felt like the first one was more like using the robot arm. Let's see this last one, or hear it. Okay, so that's definitely an alarm. You saw the red light come on there as well. Very loud. This is much louder than these speakers usually are from Playmobil, I think. Which will probably annoy some parents if they get overused. But at least the lights work out pretty well. It's too bad that they don't have some sort of set of light channels with a couple of lights like these here that will just channel light forward and actually have the headlights come on. You know, if they had the nice clear lenses there, and then just a couple of light channels going through with transparent material. That would have been a good use of all the extra power there. You do have to add your own batteries to this, but that's just it for that. And then you've got some storage space over here. This is kind of like a tablet sort of thing. And it can be used with this, which can be used for grabbing things, picking things up. You can pick up some of the small crystals with that. And there's also a blaster weapon. You can use it as a taser, or you could just use it as a sensor probe if you don't want to think about shooting things. Then, again, use your imagination and just change what it's supposed to be to match what you want. Incidentally, this has a System X receptacle on the back of it. So you may have seen in Playmobil stuff, just in general, they have the red colored or yellow colored connectors, and this can be used with that. So if there are any places you can find to attach that, power to you. The seats are able to fold forward a little bit, gives you a little bit more space back there when you're not using people in the seats. And then you have the two positions. I'm assuming this is the driver's position here, and the figure can hold on to the control handles there. And maybe you put a navigator over here, and this is nice. This is an additional tablet-like device, but it can also be used kind of like a clipboard, maybe a futuristic clipboard or a heads-up display. Now you can imagine that could be used while attached here as a targeting system for the weapon system. Let's see if I can bring this all the way. Yep, it goes all the way forward. So you can imagine looking through the sight of this remotely, using that from inside of the cabin here. Or you can just pick this up and use it, because it doesn't have to be attached. It can be held by a figure. So again, more options for things you can do. You can also rotate around, angle it back, get your perfect angle so you can see it just right. And that's pretty much it for the features of the vehicle. This is Astronaut Goodman, and he's alone in this set. And that's kind of sad. I feel like this set could easily have included two figures. There's just so many things that you can do with two individuals with this set, two people working together as a team. I think it really needed two folks. At least the one that they do include here looks pretty good and has a lot of detail. It has the full suit done up pretty well. It doesn't have a full thruster package on the back, so obviously he's intended to be working just around the ground. Taking all the stuff off, he comes with a hairpiece as well, and there's print on the arms beneath the arm add-on pieces that add extra bulk to the suit. So if he's operating in a pressurized space at any time, a pressurized area with atmosphere, then he can just operate as a normal person. Does not need to have the full suit on at all times. There's no print around the back of that torso to be seen or anything, but it's good to have that option, where this person doesn't need to be working outside in a vacuum or in a low atmosphere or toxic environment or anything. It can just be, hanging around inside a space station or driving the vehicle when it's completely safe. Yeah, I like options. I almost forgot, there's one thing that did not work in this set, and fortunately it's not important, but right there you're supposed to connect something with that cross connector. It's supposed to have a friction fit with this, and it just doesn't work. It doesn't stay, it just falls right off. So I guess maybe I could use some glue to connect those together, but just sometimes I guess there's a little bit of a miss. That's weird though. It's not even close. I like how this looks, and I love how many different things you can do with it. It really is a shame that they didn't include a second figure with this, especially for $45. It doesn't feel particularly large for $45, and I know that part of the price, it feels a little bit overpriced to me, and part of that is because they include the light and sound unit, which in this set really doesn't do enough, if you ask me. I wish that there were more lights that could be seen, especially outside. The sounds are bright and loud, but aren't necessarily the most useful. One of them can be used for operating the arm, and I guess one of them would be for driving around, but they're not the most useful things. I feel like they needed to have at least one sound of some communication going on, you know, just some generic person-to-person communications, maybe with home base or something, or a space station. That really would have been important, and I think would have added a lot to the feel of playing with this. So ultimately, I think this is good. It's not perfect, but I do wish it was a little bit cheaper, and or that it came with a second figure. That's it for my thoughts on this one though. Thanks for watching. Feel free to comment if you'd like, and I will talk to you again as soon as I can.